So today what we are going to be discussing is contested political conventions. And the most important thing that you need to know about a contested political convention is that there is nothing in our political cycle quite as unique, quite as rare, or frankly quite as fascinating. So let's start with what exactly is a contested political convention. Essentially what that means is that the typical primary process has come and gone, and through that process, no candidate, be it a Republican or Democrat, was able to successfully reach the required number of delegates for them to secure their party's nomination. Now, what that means in terms of the math of it is that on the Republican side, to get your party's nomination, you need approximately 1,200 delegates, and on the Democratic side, you require about 2,000, or a little north of 2,000. If that process has, again, come and gone, and no candidate has achieved that specific target, then what a contested convention is they will go to a specific location, a building, if you will, and at that location, a whole new process will begin to take place in which individual representatives, actual delegates from individual states, will come together and will select their nominee in that time, in that location, regardless of who has the most delegates or who ran or who didn't run. Because, if no candidate got the required amount of delegates, then all the previous primaries, after a certain technical time, almost becomes irrelevant. Now, a little history on contested political conventions. For one, they very rarely ever actually take place. On the rare occasions that they do, they tend to produce candidates that are representing a divided party. In other words, they happen when a party has yet to coalesce, has yet to unify around a particular candidate or around a particular message. When that candidate gets their nomination at their convention, they also tend to do very poorly in the general election. For example, the last time that a contested convention took place, it was under Gerald Ford. He came out of a contested political convention in 1976, went into the general election representing a divided political party, in his case, a Republican party, and subsequently lost his election. Now, excuse me. Now, what this means is a couple of things, or why this is relevant has a couple of points. And the most important one is that there is a lot of talk about a contested political convention happening right now in our current political climate. Particularly among the Republican Party, there is discussion that the current candidates that are running are not going to be able to reach that magic 1,200 number. And that if indeed that takes place, if indeed that occurs, we would essentially be looking at a political discourse, a political climate, in which our Republican Party is not fully coalesced and is not fully unified. This would show, A, the true type of discontent that many voters have for our current political system, and the level of dissatisfaction that they have with our political processes, and B, could very well be an indicator of the results of our upcoming general election, as again, candidates who come out of contested conventions very rarely tend to do well in those kind of instances. This is what makes it relevant. This is what makes it important to discuss as we're going forward into our current political cycle. And if indeed it does take place, as it has in the past, it could very well yield some fascinating observations on the true nature of our political climate and the direction our political culture is going.